If you were told that you could have one final meal with anything you wanted, what would you ask for? You're about to hear 10 strange and interesting final meal requests from inmates on death row. Hey everyone, welcome to another video and thanks for joining me. My name's Derek and I like sharing all kinds of stories on my channel that sound crazy but are real. If that sounds cool, you can join me here every Tuesday and Friday for some interesting new stories. I promise to make it worth your while, and the best way to make sure you don't miss any is to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm sure you're probably hungry to hear about these final meal requests. So let's dive right in. Gary Simmons was convicted of 2 heinous and gruesome crimes in 1996. He was given the death penalty, and when it came time for his final meal, he didn't hold back. Here's what he requested. 1 medium Pizza Hut Super Supreme deep dish pizza with double tomato sauce, double mushrooms, double onions, double jalapenos, and double pepperonis. 3 cheeses, olives, bell peppers, tomatoes, garlic, and sausage. But the list goes on. 10 packs of Parmesan cheese, 10 packs of ranch dressing, a family-sized bag of nacho cheese Doritos, jalapeno nacho cheese sauce, and sliced jalapeno peppers. Man, that is a lot, but I'm not done yet. Also on the list were 2 large strawberry shakes, 2 cherry cokes, a supersized order of fries with extra ketchup and mayonnaise, and to round all of that off, 2 pints of strawberry ice cream. That list could feed an army, and dietitians estimated that the complete order was just under 30,000 calories. Most people wouldn't be able to put much of a dent in an order that size, but Simmons was surprisingly able to eat over half of the food. I feel full just thinking about it. Alright, for this one we're going to move from one end of the spectrum to the other. One massive meal request to likely the smallest there ever will be. In 1963, Victor Feguer was served his final meal, if you consider it an actual meal. A prison chef brought him exactly what he asked for. 1 single olive with the pit still inside. A really odd request, but there was significance and meaning behind it. After Victor was executed, the pit was discovered inside of his suit pocket. It's believed that he kept the pit and put it in his pocket because olive trees are a symbol of peace, and his act of taking it to the grave with him was symbolic of peace sprouting from his grave. Ronnie Lee Gardner was the last person to be executed by firing squad in the United States. This took place in 2010, but before it was carried out, he had an interesting request with his final meal. The food items weren't strange in any way. He ordered steak, lobster tail, and a 7-Up to drink with apple pie and vanilla ice cream for dessert. That all sounds pretty normal, but what was interesting was that he asked to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy while eating. He was given permission and watched the whole 11 hours while he ate his final meal, which may have been the longest last meal in history. The first female to make the list must not have been very hungry when it came time for her final meal. Aileen Wuornous was a convicted serial killer that had a very simple request. She only asked for a single cup of black coffee. She'd been told that she could have anything she wanted under $20, but she just opted for a beverage. Hearing about this $20 limit makes me wonder how expensive the 30,000 calorie meal was in that first story. Here's a face and name you'll probably recognize. This is Timothy McVeigh, and in 1995 he was responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing that killed 168 innocent people. The bombing was the biggest terrorist attack in the United States until 9/11 a few years later. McVeigh was sentenced to death and was executed 6 years after the bombing. For his last meal, he skipped dinner and went straight for dessert. He ate 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's been estimated that close to 80% of final meals include ice cream or some kind of frozen dessert. Probably because inmates are looking to cool off before they're executed and the temperature goes up, if you know what I mean. If you asked a group of young children what they wanted to eat for dinner, you would definitely hear some of them say candy. Well, apparently some adults also like to have candy for dinner. In one of the most interesting final requests in this video, Gerald Lee Mitchell wanted his last meal to be a bag of assorted Jolly Ranchers. Maybe he went back to his childhood instinct with this one. I'm not knocking on Jolly Ranchers because they are really good, but they're a strange substitute for meal items no matter how good they are. I'm just curious if Mitchell took his time enjoying the bag or if he chewed them all like I would have. Well, except for the watermelon ones.
Ew.
Lawrence Brewer was sentenced to death in Texas in 1998. When he was asked in 2011 what he wanted for his last meal, he took advantage of the opportunity. Here's the list he gave to prison officials: 2 fried chicken steaks topped with gravy and onions, a cheeseburger with triple the bacon, a cheese omelet stuffed with ground beef, onions, tomatoes, and peppers, 3 fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, fried okra, barbecued meat with white bread, peanut butter fudge, vanilla ice cream, and 3 root beers. Sounds like he was pretty hungry, right? Well, when this entire order was brought to him, he said he wasn't hungry and refused to eat a single bite. It was his way of sending a final screw you to the Texas justice system. After this all went down, one of the Texas senators at the time was furious. He changed the law so that there would no longer be a final meal request in the state. So now, the final meal inmates are given is whatever prison slop is being served that day. They can thank Lawrence Brewer for that. Up until now, we've had big orders, small orders, candy, etc. But this request is really different from all the others because it's not something you can eat. When James Edward Smith made his last request, prison officials couldn't believe it, and they were left scratching their heads. That's because he asked for a pile of dirt. Smith was a former tarot card reader and participated in voodoo rituals. He didn't just ask for any pile of dirt, but a certain type of dirt that's used in witchcraft. He explained that he would use the dirt to mark his body so his spirit would be able to move on and not become a ghost. His request wasn't granted, and he was given a cup of yogurt for his final meal. Velma Barfield seemed like a sweet and religious grandmother, but she was nicknamed the Death Row Granny after it was revealed that she had poisoned and killed many people close to her. So for a grandma, what do you think a final meal would look like? Maybe soup, salad, and pie and ice cream for dessert, right? Well, for her last meal, she had a short list of only 2 items. They were cheese doodles, which are like Cheetos, and 2 8-ounce glass bottles of Coca-Cola. Sounds like snacks my friends and I would go buy before playing video games. And the final strange meal request comes from Philip Workman. This may have been for show, but it appears as though he tried to do a last act of kindness with his final request. He asked for a vegetarian pizza, but his plan wasn't to eat it. Instead, he wanted it to be given to a homeless person. Prison officials declined the request, saying that charitable contributions weren't their responsibility. Word quickly spread of the request and the prison's refusal to carry it out, and it all was soon national news. The public donated nearly 200 pizzas to homeless shelters and rescue missions throughout Tennessee. So even though his request wasn't granted, it turned into something much bigger. That will bring an end to the stories in this episode. Once again, I appreciate you joining me today, and if you'd like to join me for new videos every Tuesday and Friday, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. If you enjoyed this video, smash a like on it and share it with someone you think might find it interesting. Also, if you have a story suggestion for a future video, drop it in the comments. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.